Class. Pretty cool class today. So we're going over the new set. So intro to set 8.5 glitched out. Before we get started, if everyone could just mute their mics. If you have any questions, please leave them for the end. And then without further ado, we'll get started. So set 8.5 glitched out. It came out Wednesday, March 22nd, so yesterday. So it's very new, which makes it all the more important to know exactly what's going on. So today, going to be talking about some important stuff. Quick intro. There's a lot of like new changes just made to the set. A lot of new / remove units and traits. We're going to talk about some compositions, talk about some final notes, so final things to know about the set, and then just Q&A after. Okay, this is the splash for the new set. If you can notice, the theme is, I think it's like Evil Whisker, or like that's like the main thing. But the main thing is the 2 Ezreals. So now the theme of the set, there's 2 Ezreals. There's the 2-cost Ezreal. There's now a 5-cost Ezreal. You play them together. It's like, oh, glitched out parallel universe, all that cool stuff. But yeah, okay. Other thing, not very important, but still pretty cool. There's new chibis. So if you like Chibi Z, then you can give your money to Riot Games and try to get one. All right, on to the real content. So major set 8.5 changes. We're talking about something called glitch carousels. So these are new. We'll talk about what they are. Item pop off. For those who played last set, near the end there was a bug where you can pop off items off of your units, but now it's a feature. So it's no longer a bug, it's a feature, and I'll show you. Well, you don't actually have to do anything, but we'll talk about that. Then we're going to talk about new and removed units and hero augments, and then some new and removed traits. Okay, so what are glitch carousels? These 2 images are 2 examples of glitch carousels. So they could be multiple things. Essentially, they're just like augmented carousels that have like special things on them. So what can they be? So they can be either 2 item component units. So if you see on the right here, it's 2 items. Each unit carries 2. It could be the same item as well. It could be like item anvils with item component. So not only do you get the item component, you also get the anvil to open up, and then you have 4 choices to pick your item from there. Or it could be like item component plus a Nico's help. This could be like the 3-cost Nico or the regular Nico. So it's some type of like augmented carousel where it's pretty important. Stage 2 will always be a glitched carousel. So keep that in mind. After 2-1, 2-2, 2-3, 2-4, the carousel will always be glitched. So if you are planning on lose streaking, or if you are lose streaking, this is one extra advantage that you will have in today's set. So that's what glitch carousels are. Item pop off. So most of the time when you get, well, before today's set, once you got your item from your carousel, it would stay on that unit. And then let's say you had like 1 Lee Sin on your, or 2 Lee Sins on your that you had, 1 on your bench and 1 on your board. The 1 on your bench had some item, then you got a Lee Sin off of carousel. So now you have 3, the items would combine, and then you'd be like, oh my god, I completely forgot. So that no longer happens. Items acquired from carousel will always pop off, and there's no more accidental automatic combining of item components. So it's very good. No longer a bug, it's feature. Pretty cool. Okay, so those are the major changes for the set. Basically just the glitch carousel and the item pop off. You're gonna move on to the units now. So these are all the new units. There's a lot, so I'm just gonna go into it. Basically, there are a ton of new backliners and a ton of new frontliners. However, if you might notice straight from the items, they have very similar jobs as the unit they replace. So I won't go too in depth for all of them, but let's just start like over here. So Garen, Mech Defender, is basically the old set. That's all you need to know. So yeah. Warwick is actually a pretty new one. 4-cost Brawler, Laser Core, and oh my god, I forgot. Brawler, Laser Core, and Admin. So he is a bruiser. And good items are like Titans, Lost Whisper, Runons. He could even use BT, Edge of Night. Very flexible. So Warwick is a carry to play around. Aatrox is the old Zac. So is 4-cost threat tank. Shen is just a tank. He's hacker, Infiniteam. He's not played too much right now, but basically he carries the same items as just regular tank ones. Okay, Gnar is the next one. So Gnar replaces, he is an AD version of Zoe. So he is Prankster and Gadgeteen. And then Pantheon is just a frontline tank. He's a 1-cost. So you see right away, we already have like a lot of similarities from last set. So although it's a new unit, it's basically just a new face, but same function as before. Vex is the new Yuumi, but she's a 3-cost. Jhin is basically another version of Samira. So he's 80 carry, Last Whisper, Infinity Edge +1. Could either be Hodge, Guardbreaker, but you play him as a backline 4-cost 80 carry. Nico is the new, what is it, Talia? Technically, both of these are. So we have 2 new 4-cost spell slingers, Twisted Fate and Nico. Nico's more of a spellcaster, where she like uses Shojin and then she uses her spell. While TF or Twisted Fate is more of an attack speed carry. So you want to put things like Gunblade, Ginsu, Shiv, and then Jewel Gauntlet is fine. So these 2 are the new AP carries. Ezreal replaces Aphelios. So he is now your new 5-cost Sure Shot. Morgana replaces Vel'Koz, where it's a 3-cost threat that CCs. But the unique thing with Morgana is she also, whoever she damages, also does Armor Shred and Magic Resist Shred. And then the last but not least is Lucian. I don't think it really replaces anyone, but he's a 1-cost AP carry, and he has really low mana. He has 40, so you want to put things like Blue Buff, Jewel Gauntlet, and maybe even Heart on him, because Pantheon is also Heart, so you have 2 Heart from here, and maybe some cool comps from there. One thing to note, Morgana, you want to place right beside your carry, just because, as I mentioned earlier, she shreds armor and magic resist, so they'll be attacking the same thing, and you could do more damage than that. So, looking at this as a whole, we have tons of similarities, right? Like Set, Zac, AD Zoe, Tank, or I guess Tank's not a similarity, Yuumi, Talia, Aphelios, Vel'Koz. So it's a lot of the new sets. It's the same function, it's just a different face. Okay, any questions on the new units? We're going to be going more in depth into some of them, but this is just the main intro to what they look like and their items. Okay, let's keep going after I erase this. Okay, so I already mentioned all the new ones, but look at the ones that are removed. So I'll just point out a couple of the key ones. Talent is now removed, so you no longer have to worry about talent positioning and him jumping straight to your carry in the corner. Aphelios, one of the main carries from last set, was removed, as I mentioned. Zed, so no more Hacker Zed, Duelist Zed just jumping on your carry. Now, most of the time, you're getting jumped on by Warwick. People play Hacker, and they send the Warwick to the back, and then they kill your carry. So you no longer have to worry about Zed, you have to worry about Warwick. And that's about it. Mech set, as I mentioned, replaced with Garen. Tons of replacements, like Vel'Koz is now Morgana, so these are all the removed ones. Also, Galio's gone. Okay, new and removed traits. So Civilian and Recon, they are now gone. The Civilian emblem is even like waving goodbye to us because it's gone. So no more Civilian, no more Recon. Tons of new traits. There's actually 4 new traits. So the first one, Infiniteam, Lucian, Pantheon, Shen, Sivir, Twisted Fate, and the ultimate Ezreal. So that's the 5-cost Ezreal. As you notice right off the bat, a lot of these are really low cost units. So 1, 1, 3, and 2. So this means that this is an early game trait. And what it does, basically, you're going to see a portal show up on your board. And then if you put any Infiniteam units on that portal, at the start of combat, they'll summon like an extra version with items and less health and less damage. So it's really good early. It's basically like a mini Woodland Charm with an extra item. So I would use this early, but late game, I don't think it's that good because you have to play like 1 cost like Lucian and Pantheon. Quick Draw is like the new threat. So basically it's a backline DPS trait. As you see, there's already like, used to be Recon. So it's basically the new Recon, and you can play with like your Recon threats. They're all magic damage, so don't be mistaken. Although most of these do 80. Actually, in League of Legends, all of these do 80 damage mostly. So now it's all AP and magic damage. So be aware for that. And you can either reroll 4 Quick Draw or just play 2 Quick Draw and then a different board from there. But what it does is after every 2 damaging abilities, or ability shots, they're going to shoot an extra projectile that deals damage. So pure damage, pure backline DPS trait here. Riftwalker, OP, play Riftwalker. You want LP? Riftwalker, get that. Yes. So what it does is it summons an extra tank. This tank is Zac from the last set, so it's like the giant purple. Well, it's the skin that shows him in like the giant purple state. And so that's what Riftwalker does. And then it also gives you +1 trait of your choice. And the way that works is, let's say we have our board here, and then we have like Jhin, and then Vex, and then like Pyke. Once you put these 3 on your board, you're now going to get a Zac, and you can actually move the Zac. And then the Riftwalker that's closest to Zac, they're going to form a tether and give you that +1 trait. So this is a J for Jhin. let's say you do this. This means that you're gonna get +1 Renegade because it's the Zac is closest to the Jin. However, if you now move your Zac over to the Pike, how do I do a Z? Zac over to the Pike, then you're now gonna get +1 Hacker. And then last but not least, the Zac for the Vex is gonna be +1 Mascot. So you could do some really cool stuff with this. Right now, most of the time in today's meta, it's either moving it to the Vex or the Jin. And I'm going to show a full board on how to play +1 Renegade Jin towards the end of today's class. But that's what Riftwalker is really good. All the units are good. You get a free like 2000 HP Zac that scales with star level. And then you get +1 trait. It's great. Riftwalker, we love it. Last one, Parallel, less great. You play the two Ezreal brother copies together and they just give each other buffs. I think the 5-cost Ezreal, unless it's like 2-starred, you have really good frontline, and then you have best in slot like Last Whisper, Infinity Edge +1. He's not that great. So right now, if you're just, it's mostly just the 2-cost Ezreal reroll, and then you throw on like the 5-cost to buff up the 2-cost. Okay, so that's the new ones. Things that are removed. So Galio, or I guess Civilian. Civilian's gone. No more Civilian. It's waving goodbye to us. Galio is gone. Sivir's Civilian has been changed to Infinity Team, and then Janna Civilian also is just removed. But now Janna is more of a carry, no longer just a support unit. It's very cool. You want to put things like Jewel Gauntlet and Shojin on her. And then Recon is gone. A lot of it was changed to Quick Draw, but so Ashe was changed. Ashe is now a Sure Shot. Ezreal has been changed to Quick Draw. Vayne's Recon was just removed and not given anything, so she's just Anima and Duelist now. And then Kaisa is also changed to Recon, or to Quick Draw. But now Recon is gone. Okay, so we talked a lot about like the new units, new traits, what was removed, what was added, some cool like interactions of the new set. Let's go into some of the meta compositions right now that you should play in your first 5 games to get you some LP. So the first one, as I mentioned, it was with Riftwalker. So Renegade Riftwalker. This is a level 8 board. Basically, it revolves around Jhin and Viego as a duo carry. So that's already benefit number 1, is a duo carry board. So if one dies right off the bat, you have another carry to carry your team. Very flexible because it uses both AP and AD items. So you no longer have to worry about, oh my god, I'm just getting AP items even though I'm playing AD or vice versa. Now you put your AP items on Viego and you put your AD items on your Jhin, and everyone is happy. The board is, so you want to play 4 Renegade. So it's, well, technically it's going to be 5 with the Zac. So it's going to be 1 Jhin, 2 Viego. Silas eventually wants to go to Leona, but this is not very feasible all the time. So most of the time you just play Silas. And then 4 is Camille. And then you get your 5th from your Zac tethering to the Jhin. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 5 Renegade, it's no longer just a 3 and a 6. It's like 3, 5, and 7. So 5 Renegade has its own breakpoint. And then the other ones are just your Riftwalker units, right? So Vex and Pike. And then last but not least, you want to put in more support units. It's Alistar and LeBlanc, and this will give you Hacker and Admin, and Ox Force and Aegis. Actually, I don't think you get Aegis. It's just Ox Force. Eventually, you'll get Aegis once you replace this with Leona, but that's not very feasible. So we just keep it as Silas for now for the Renegade. And then this is a board. It's very good. You can force this almost every game. You could splash AP and AD items, so it's very flexible. And this is what most people are playing right now. And then you can hacker in your Pike, send him to the back, and then he can dash around and stun people. This is gonna be a level 8 board, so try to go level 8 and then roll down from there. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one, Vex. So there's 2 ways to play this. You can just play Vex mascots, so play 4 mascots and 3 supers, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. For your mascots, and then your super units are Lee Sin, Malphite, and Gangplank, and then you want to 3-star everything, so or almost everything. So 3-star, 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 and 3-star. 3-star Alistar is not as feasible. So this is just a reroll board. Slow roll, so make 50 gold and then roll any of your excess gold while maintaining 50 to 3-star Vex. This will give you maximum interest and give you the most amount of rolls. And then you itemize your Vex, so blue buff is definitely for sure. And then you could do Jewel Gauntlet Guardbreaker. You could do Jewel Gauntlet Giant Slayer. If you have Jewel Lotus, then you could just do Guardbreaker Hodge or something like that. And then you want to put your tank items on Malphite. and then pretty simple. The other version you could play with this is drop 2 mascots. So you would drop Nasus and actually, sorry, you wouldn't play supers. You would just play Riftwalker instead. So you'd drop Gangplank and Lee Sin, and then you'd play Jin and Pike. So that way you get 4 mascots and 3 Riftwalker, and then you could go from there. You could go level 8, give the tether to Vex, and then that's 6 mascots. So pretty fun, pretty interesting, but basically Vex is really good right now. Blue buff and then 2 damaging AP items and you're set to go. The very last one, very similar to recon threats from last set. So level 7 reroll board, basically you're slow rolling for Kaisa on level 7, and then same items like Gunblade, Shiv, and Rageblade. You don't need crit. Actually, you do need crit this time, so you should probably put in Jewel Gauntlet unless you have Jewel Lotus in this case. And then your front line is just going to be threats and tanks. Star Guardian is no longer like 3-5. It is 2-4. So now you get 2 Star Guardian just from playing these two like this. And then your threats units. Cho'Gath is gone, so you could just play Aatrox instead. And then your backline DPS with Kaisa. And your quick draws. Okay, so we talked about a lot today. We're just going to end off with some final notes here. TFT is very different from League of Legends. So Lucian, Kaisa, Viego, they all do AD damage in League. And although it's the same character, in TFT it's different. So they do AP or magic damage here. So pay attention to the unit descriptions. Also, units that are normally tanks are not always tanks in TFT. So like Leona is not a tank. She does damage instead. Aegis is the new Mystic, so if you need magic resist, then play Aegis. Nunu just rolls his snowball, so he doesn't auto attack, so don't give him items that revolve around auto attacking, like Kinsu's Rageblade. That doesn't work. Garen does AD damage on his ability, not AP, so he doesn't proc Morellonomicon. And then last but not least, defenders no longer taunt enemies, so that's something to know. For example, if you're playing Riven in your front line and you're worried about her taunting and then dying right away, she no longer does, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so we talked about a lot today. Oh, actually there's more. Okay, starting carousel. Once you load into your game, you want to have general direction. So if you start off tier, you go flex between Vex, Spellslingers, or Quick Draw Kaisa. If you go bow, then you're playing AD, so either Jhin, Warwick, Samira, or Draven. And then glove and tank items, you could play anything, don't worry about that. But tier, Vex, Spellslingers, Kaisa, bow, Jhin, Warwick, Samira, and Draven. Okay, so we talked about a lot today. Things you need to remember is glitch carousel will always be on the first carousel or on stage 2. It's going to give you some wacky combinations, but this can really help you, especially if you're loose streaking and you get first priority. Items will always pop off now, so no longer accidental combinations from picking up a unit off of carousel and then things combine. A lot of new units, however, they are just a new face and they basically have the same function. So don't let it worry you too much. You should be able to get into the hang of things pretty easily. A lot of CC is gone. So like Sejuani is gone now. So this is less of a positional / like CC heavy set. The only thing you need to watch out for is Hacker, which people normally Hacker in their Warwick right now. That's really good. And then that's about it. Riftwalker is really good. I would just play this board if you can. It's a really good composition right now. So Renegade Riftwalker is what you should play until it gets nerfed. Okay, that is everything. Good luck in your games. If anyone has any questions, then I'm happy to go through it now.